Most of a massive continent is utterly uninhabitable. Australia is a land of stark contrasts. Only about 10% of its vast 7.7 million square kilometers supports human habitation comfortably. This leaves 90% largely empty. Around 26 million people live here. Most are clustered along the eastern and southeastern coasts. Cities like Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, and Perth hold the majority. Sydney alone has over 5 million residents. Melbourne is close behind with more than 5 million. Three major factors contribute to this extreme emptiness. First, the climate is incredibly harsh. Much of the interior is a vast desert known as the Outback. Deserts cover about 18% of the entire continent. The Great Victoria Desert is the largest, covering over 350,000 square kilometers. The Gibson Desert, Tanami Desert, and Simpson Desert also dominate huge areas. Temperatures regularly soar above 40 degrees Celsius in summer. Some regions experience more than 250 days a year above 30 degrees Celsius. Rainfall is minimal and highly unpredictable. That is incredibly dry. Large parts receive less than 250 millimeters of rain annually, a startlingly low figure. Second, water is extremely scarce. There are very few permanent rivers inland. The Murray-Darling River system is the largest. It provides water to over 3 million people, but its tributaries often dry up. Inland lakes are frequently salt pans. Lake Eyre, for instance, is usually dry. It only fills perhaps once every 8 years on average. Even when it fills, it is very shallow. Bore water from underground aquifers is often too salty for drinking or agriculture. Desalination plants exist in some coastal cities. They are expensive to build and operate. Third, the soil quality is very poor. Australia's land is ancient. It has been exposed to weathering for millions of years. This has leached essential nutrients from the soil. Much of the outback soil is sandy, rocky, or highly saline. It cannot support widespread agriculture. Crops struggle to grow without extensive irrigation and fertilization. Ranching is possible but requires enormous tracts of land. A single cattle station can be larger than some European countries. Anna Creek Station in South Australia is the world's largest. It spans over 23,000 square kilometers. That is bigger than the entire country of Slovenia. Building infrastructure in these empty zones is prohibitively expensive. Roads, railways, power grids, and communication networks are difficult to establish. The distances are immense. Maintenance costs are high. Delivering services like healthcare and education to isolated communities is a logistical nightmare. Even emergencies become complex situations. Mining is a major industry in the outback. Huge deposits of iron ore, coal, gold, uranium, bauxite, diamonds, and other minerals are found there. Companies build mining towns and temporary camps. These are highly specialized operations. They do not lead to widespread population growth. The environmental impact of mining is also a concern. Australia is home to many unique and sometimes dangerous animals. Venomous snakes, spiders, crocodiles, and sharks are common in various regions. These creatures are part of the natural environment. They contribute to the challenge of widespread settlement. Indigenous Australians have lived across the entire continent for tens of thousands of years. They developed sophisticated knowledge of the land. Their traditional practices allowed them to survive and thrive even in the harshest environments. Their connection to the land is profound. European settlement starting in 1788 focused on the fertile coastal areas. The initial penal colonies were established near freshwater sources. Farming and grazing expanded outwards from these hubs. The interior was largely ignored or seen as a barrier. Early explorers faced incredible hardships. Many perished attempting to cross the vast dry lands. They reported on the inhospitable nature of the outback. This reinforced the idea that it was not suitable for large-scale settlement. The population density of Australia is extremely low. It is around 3.4 people per square kilometer. Compare that to the United Kingdom's 277 people per square kilometer, or Japan's 337 people per square kilometer. Even Canada, a large country, has a higher density at 4.2 people per square kilometer. The sheer scale of the empty space is hard to comprehend. Imagine an area roughly the size of the United States without Alaska. Now imagine only 10% of that land having most of the people. This is Australia's reality. The government has made some efforts to encourage regional development. Decentralization policies and incentives for living in rural areas have had limited success. Most people still prefer the amenities and opportunities of the major coastal cities. The vast emptiness also presents unique challenges for national defense and border control. Monitoring such a huge and largely unpopulated area is complex. Climate change is expected to exacerbate existing dryness. More frequent and intense droughts are projected for many regions. This will put even greater pressure on water resources. It could make the outback even less hospitable. Bushfires are an annual threat. They can devastate large areas, especially in drought conditions. The scale of these fires can be immense. Millions of hectares burn in bad seasons. The country's unique biodiversity is also threatened by these changes. Researchers continue to study the outback. They seek to understand its ecosystems and potential. New technologies might unlock some resources, but the fundamental challenges of water, climate, and soil remain. 90% of Australia will likely stay wild and untamed for the foreseeable future. Its emptiness is a defining characteristic. It shapes its culture, its economy, and its future. The harsh beauty of the outback continues to draw adventurous tourists. But for daily living, it is a land that mostly says no to human encroachment. It is a powerful example of nature's dominance. The country relies heavily on coastal populations for its economic output. Its exports of minerals and agricultural products are vital. These industries often operate from the very fringes of the empty interior. The vast distances create logistical hurdles for transporting goods. Shipping ports on the coast are crucial. Rail lines connect mining regions to these ports. These infrastructure corridors are often the only signs of human activity for hundreds of kilometers. The total length of Australia's coastline is enormous. It stretches over 34,000 kilometers. This provides ample space for coastal development, but it does not negate the challenges of the inland. Even with modern technology, overcoming the fundamental environmental limits is difficult. The ancient land tells its own story. It is a story of enduring geological forces. It is a story of extreme climate. It is a story of a continent that largely resists human taming. The population growth continues, but it remains concentrated. The empty heart of the country beats slowly. It remains largely untouched by the millions living on its edges. That pattern seems set to continue. The future of Australia is inextricably linked to this geographical paradox, a developed nation with a vast empty core.